this is supposed to gatekeep the high holy place. But since we know they ain't talking about the creator or spiritualism, in fact, they are the gatekeeper to the evil one. You with me? Let's go back. They're gatekeeping to the evil ones, keeping you from here. Keeping you from here. Gatekeeping to the evil. But it also says that if you figure out the riddle to the Sphinx, then the Sphinx is compelled to destroy itself. If you figure out the riddle to the gatekeeper of the evil, because see what we do here, what my role is, and the Rhodes Rothschild stuff, the Rhodes Scholar stuff, the secret society stuff, is to expose the elements that have remained hidden. Which is what the Boule does. You ask the Boule about something, they will not tell you about who it is that's in control of all of the world, but they know. Now, so many to the left, so many to the right, so many to the left, unlock the key to the role of the Boule guarding the evil one. And it says right here, it says the Sphinx is therefore a mystery of nature. I can barely read this part. I'll read it from here. It says here, discovering one who knew the answer to her riddle, the Sphinx cast herself from the cliff, which bordered the road, and perished. In other words, if your role is to protect the invisible man, and we make that man visible, your role. With me? You understand? Check. So as we keep penetrating these layers of the opposition, we're rendering their role impotent. Because if they can't keep them secret, then they can't protect them, because now we all know who they are, though they never told us. All right? Yes? Now here comes the key to the riddle. When one was asked, had something to do with the number 9. The key to the riddle, when one is asked, has something to do with the number 9. It says that the mystery creature with the body of the winged lion and the head of the woman, which frequented the highway leading to Thebes. To each who passed her lair, the Sphinx addressed the question, what animal is it that in the morning goes on 4 feet, at noon on 2 feet, and in the evening on 3 feet? 4, 3, and 2. Add up to how many? Let's count them. A Phi A, 1. Kappa Alpha Psi, 2. Phi Beta Sigma, 3. Sigma, what's this? No, this is Phi Beta Sigma. Oh no, that's Phi Beta Sigma. This is Omega Psi Phi. Oh, what we got here? Get the camera on the ones, know the answers. All right, let's go back. What's this one? Zeta Phi Beta. No. Sigma Gamma Rho. Where you at, sister? Right? How many that make? No. How many that make? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. What is this one? There's 4 male and there's 4 female. Who don't belong in there? The 4th one. Right there. Strike. Now, The Boule makes the 9th one. The Boule is the first one. Go up to the top, put them in 1904. Now, the last of these was founded in the 1920s. Now, that was 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. That's a long time not for no one to come up with a 10th one. You understand that a 10th one would make it numerically insignificant. The Boule was postgraduate like Skull and Bones, postgraduate. Boule was postgraduate, and the initial 4 and 4 were undergraduate. Now, I used to say that, okay, fine, A Phi A, you all right. Kappa, you all right. It's the Boule I'm after. But now I understand that the Grecian Sphinx is connected to the number 9. And that 9 is the grouping of the Greek thing, and that they're a package deal. So if I hate Sigma Pi Phi, the Boule, I must hate A Phi A. I must hate Kappa Alpha Psi. I must hate Phi Beta Sigma. I must hate Omega Psi Phi, Zeta Phi Beta, Sigma Gamma Rho, Sigma Delta Theta, and Alpha Kappa Alpha. I must hate them all. How many of y'all in here in the Greek thing? Get your hands up. I got pictures of some of y'all. Now, my point is, the first commandment, thou shalt not worship false idols before thee. Y'all seen Charlton Heston 2 Sundays ago talking that shit. Y'all know y'all saw the shit. But the move is that you're not to. That's what the brother wrote Stolen Legacy for. It was a proactive thing. You are not to allow this. You are not to allow it. Now, watch this. This is something I didn't know either. Kind of hooks it together. The question is, does then the Boule know of the people that we're talking about? Watch this. Here is a tribute of Charles Wesley in the Boule magazine, the Boule Journal, written by Associate Professor of History, Vice President Academic Affairs at Howard, Michael Winston. That Metropolitan AME Church is just where I bumped in on Jesse Jackson setting up rumor control 2 days ago. Notice it used here the words, this is important symbolism, a bundle of relations, a knot of roots, or a bundle of sticks. That's a very important Masonic terminology that all throughout the history of Sigma Pi Phi is a discussion of the binding or weaving of men together in bonding or bundles of relationships. Don't underestimate that language. That language is symbolic of something. Now, this is a tribute to Charles Wesley, who wrote the history book. Charles Wesley that died in 87. There's the history book, the first of the Negro Greek letter fraternities. There's the logo. Now, notice that the logo has the tail in the shape of an S for Sigma. Notice the wings are up or in flight, and it's in front of a vase. This vase has significance, and inside the vase you cannot see it, but is a wheel representing the 360 degrees of knowledge. That's the cover of their book. This was the first edition that came out in 1950, 15th anniversary edition, came out in 1954, written by Charles Wesley. But in Wesley's eulogy was something I think you might find interesting. It was a layout of quoting of words. In fact, let me push this up so you can see it even better further. The word, we're looking and tracing a certain word. We're looking and tracing a certain word. And the word is traced. You know, every time I come here, I read from this book. I talk about Carol Quigley, who wrote the book, The Anglo-American Establishment, who also wrote the book, Tragedy and Hope. And I talk about it because Quigley, more than any other white man on earth, described the circle between his circle secret societies. I picked up Quigley's dialogue in the book, The Rockefeller File, None That Call a Conspiracy, bought the book Tragedy and Hope, 1,300 pages, found the Jane Addams, Arnold Toynbee, Rockefeller, Oppenheimer, Rothschild connection, and the Cecil Rhodes coming together in a secret society. And in the back of the book, he names the names of who was in the various circles of authority. Now, the word that we're looking for is used. Read Du Bois' book. Look how many times he quotes Lord Tennyson. Look at the Boule history book and look how many times they quote Lord Tennyson. Check. Go find out what it was about Lord Tennyson that makes all these Boule Negroes quote him. It's very important. But look at what words do you find in both of those dialogues? Ain't but two words that come out the same. What words do you holler it out? What two words are in both? I heard it. Round table. Now look at what Wesley says. The round table lives only in poetic life and history. They can live again in life, and we can make them live through us. It can continue as a dream, and it can continue again through us. Now that's kind of mumbo shit, ain't it? You're looking at this shit and it ain't making much sense, but it's encoded. You see, a secret society can do things in overt ways if you don't know the code. The only thing both of them are talking about is about the fair order of the table round. A model for a mighty world, meaning that, and what is this thing right here with a pike or a spoke on it? A pike on it. Charles Wesley uses, as Tennyson does, the dialogue that the round table is somehow connected to something that the Boule does in protecting the high evil one. You with me? Now, Carol Quigley, who we would consider the absolute authority on the subject, and I read this to you 1,000 times in his preface of his book, he describes words to describe what the secret society of Rhodes was about. Remember, the Rhodes Scholarship established by the terms of Cecil Rhodes' seventh will are known to everyone. What is not so widely known is that Rhodes in his 5 previous wills left his fortune to form a secret society, which was to devote itself to the preservation and expansion of the British Empire. Are they doing better or are they doing worse? Is there doubt in your mind? Now you got a president who slept with another woman for 12 years and called your governor mafia. Damn. But the point of it is that this network is on the rise. They defeated the Skull and Bones network. And don't you think George Bush's wing didn't fall off his plane for nothing? They tried to kill his ass 2 days ago. I'm telling you, the Jewish community don't like George Bush. In fact, that ADL story I'm about to walk you into is being backed up by some of George Bush's buddies who holds the ADL responsible for part of the reason why he ain't president. You remember I came right to this podium, I talked about that white-on-white conflict between the Bush and the Anglo and the Jewish connection. And in case you didn't see it, the most suppressed story in America, 2 days after Clinton was elected, was the story about David Steiner. What did he do? How many seats are holding here? How many? About 700? David Steiner was the president of the strongest lobby in the U.S. Congress, AIPAC, the American Israeli Political Action Committee. He said on the telephone with another Jewish man named Katz, who he asked for a $200,000 donation. He said, we got this Clinton in our goddamn pocket. We gonna have National Security Advisor, State Department. We got all the jobs. This is our nigga. and cats recorded his phone call. But the important thing was that the story didn't come and went. 40 out of 71 spots. 41 out of 71 spots. The most important spots. Now, y'all voted for him. I got the pictures of y'all. Y'all got y'all voters registration card at the house. Because while y'all was in there pulling Sharpton, y'all pulled Clinton ass. Y'all know it. I got the precinct returns. I was better at that before I got to this than I got to this. Now, this society has been known at various times as Milner's Kindergarten. What'd that say? So now, what are we doing? What are we trying to do here? We fucking connecting the dots. Is there a group in the black community called the Round Table? So they're not talking about one of our groups, are they? Lord Tennyson don't even know nothing about us. He dead. But actually, it did have something to do with this guy. That picture I got from you. For good use to it. Well, he got me some good pictures. That's the man that put that thing together. He was a faggot. Never slept with a woman in his life. In the December 12th issue of Nation magazine, he says, I built my dynasty out of the Kaffir's belly. Right. Now, that to me inconclusively lets me know that the Boule in fact protects the secret society. Now, check this out. Had a Boule guy on the radio the other day. I had a big lecture in Washington, D.C. His name is Wesley Brown. He's the first nigga to graduate from the Naval Academy. He was on WOL. I was supposed to be on, but I got canceled. Because they were doing a Memphis Appeal story. They had Dick Gregory and Mark Lane on for like 6-7 days in a row. So everybody got canceled. And even though I tried to tell them I could help their story, because I went beyond the Memphis. See, Memphis is a story to send you one way. Well, I say, since you brought it up, I'm going to take the story back my way. See, they bring the Malcolm thing up. You going to take the story that way? Well, great. I'm going to bring the Malcolm shit back over here my way. I don't care what they bring up. Ain't but one group. And we got the horses to be able to hook them back together to prevent that. This is me and Wesley Brown calling him in on the radio.
Thank you very much. Brother Larry, don't forget about the announcement.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, Stan. 432-1450 is our number. Caller, thank you for holding. You're on 1450 with Mr. Wesley Brown.
Yes, Mr. Brown, my appreciation. As you heard them talk, and you talked earlier about that story in regards to the War Department, Secretary of War spying on the black community as a threat to national security. I'm sure you saw in the story a particular name who was the special assistant to special assistant to Newton Baker, and the name was Emmett Scott.
Right.
And that is your fraternity brother of the Boule, who eventually became the grandsire archon of the Boule. And I'd like you to tell the audience, what does the word Boule mean? Why is the organization somewhat secret? Why is it sort of Greek? And what could you tell us about it?
Well, I would rather...
Now listen. Why am I doing this? I already know that he can't answer. But it's not for me that I'm doing it. It's for you. Because you need to see what I'm trying to say verified by the ones I'm saying it against. Check. This is no more than a document or an exhibit to be presented at a trial. Right? All we doing is laying leg work. And council come in and put this shit in the legalese and we'll be off. All right?
Mirror on that, only because I don't think it's
Okay, he's going to get his hand. Listen.
And what could you tell us about it?
Well, I would rather demur on that, only because I don't think it's germane to our discussion of the military and the services. You did sneak it in there a little bit with regard to his Emmett Scott's relationship to Secretary of War, but I would rather not really go into it.
Does the rule of the organizations, does the rules of the organization prohibit you from discussing the organization with non-members? And the problem becomes, Brother Brown, is that since 1904 our people have not had the benefit of understanding what the organization's role is, so that when we ask in a very humane and plausible way, we get somewhat similar to the answer you give, because we understand, if it is so, that the rules of the organization prohibit you from having this bridge directly to your people about the value of the organization. And as you can see, many people, I'm sure you see the flyers around, it's in the paper with the story in it about this meeting on the Boule tonight. And you can see why we must meet. You ought to see how many people are going to be there who want to know, and you have the opportunity to tell us now. Will you tell us now?
No, I don't think that this is germane. That was my first comment. I'll stick to that.
Do the rules prohibit you from discussing it?
Well, he prefers, brother, to not even respond to it at this time. What I will do is speak with Mr. Brown off microphone to see if he might be amenable to having a discussion on that particular subject matter to the extent of his knowledge and familiarity with it at another date.
I appreciate the opportunity, really I do. And I just turn to the people and say, I see y'all tonight, and now y'all know why.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right. All right. All right. Now, remember, those aren't names of their members, those are cities that they're in. They have a wide organization. That's the order of when the first one started on down and on up. They started with the Greek alphabet, and then they start doing it twice. So once they get to Chi, Psi, whatever, then it goes alpha, 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 beta, alpha, gamma, alpha, delta, alpha, epsilon. And of course, you know, you see New York come in right after Washington, which came in right after Memphis. Right, the Zeta chapter. And in fact, I thought it was interesting that in the history book of the Boule, when they showed the Memphis chapter, because I go right to Memphis to look for those Boule, look how they put the triangle behind the Delta Boule's logo, organized June 17th, 1910, Memphis, Tennessee. And of course, the Trilateral Commission uses that same symbolism in their triangle papers. Also, those three arrows, when they're pushed together, form this same triangle. And so we're now talking about a group that uses the number 9, uses symbolism, and also has many friends. This organization has over 3,300 members now. It's in 95 different cities, and it has one African chapter in Liberia, headquartered in Monrovia, after Monroe, the white president, who sent their asses over there. But just look, think of a city that you see, and think of friends you need to call to be on the alert and look out for the names. Now, one thing I want to say, Brother Oglesby can vouch for this. I spoke in Philadelphia on the Boule, and the black press in Philadelphia condemned me. Called me hootin', hanny, boot, talking, revolutionary, lap logging, inflammatory researcher. And it says that the Boule are friends of the black community in Philadelphia, and they need to be honored and emulated rather than destroyed. But I can look on this city, on this list. Oh, we're going to show him in a minute. I know I kicked that ass in Durham. I kicked that ass in San Diego. I kicked that ass in Buffalo. I kicked that ass in Indianapolis. Dallas, Fort Worth, kicked that ass real good. Cincinnati, kicked that ass in New Orleans, kicked that ass in Nashville. In Nashville, at Tennessee State, the Boule logo is right in the walls of the theater. Because Fisk, see, all of the predominantly black colleges' presidents are Boule members. In fact, at one point, Jackie Robinson ridiculed Malcolm X for not speaking at any of the black schools. But the reality was the black schools wouldn't let him speak. And just like that with Coakley, Tuskegee, the president, come out and stop the students from writing up the check. At Southern, they just put down a $1,500 lecture because they said the president will not allow them. At Alabama State, the students had a walkout to try to get Coakley to speak, and that didn't help them either. At Hampton University, Uncle Bill Harvey, Boule, stood at the gates to stop me from coming on the campus to speak. At Morgan State, the President Richardson called the state troopers to the campus to throw me off the campus to stop me from speaking. And as long as I've been at Howard giving 50 different lectures, not a one of them ever been financed by Howard. I just rent the rooms. And so we're now talking about a whole group of black things, public schools, teachers, high schools, and then colleges built by a group of whites to keep militant blacks off the set and to protect the big rich white man to continue to do the evil, to bring the world in unity for the rise of their antichrist. All right. I couldn't tell you how honored I am as I go around the country and watch different groups come out. In Chicago, they putting Boule stuff on the street. It's African Minds United in LA, putting out Boule information. People taking it upon themselves to flush that Boule stuff into the street, to put pressure on them. And even though I was attacked by the president of ASCAC in Zingarata in Atlanta in September for fucking with the Boule, because I'm supposed to know better, the Negroes tell me. But the Boule didn't attack me. The president of ASCAC did. Told me that the Boule gonna finance their scholars. You need to ask them. This is Brother Monk is walking down the aisle with a roll of tickets. I'm gonna auction off a Boule videotape. The raffle tickets are $1. It should be 1,000 of them sold. And as many raffles I bought, I'm gonna give off a video. So if it's $75 worth, I'm gonna give off 3 of them. And the brothers got them going up the aisle. Get them while we talking. And the one who wins, those that win for $1 will really be honored. And I want you to call me. I've had people call me when they won, and you ought to hear what they say about getting something for $1. This is just, you play the lottery. This is just something to allow people with less money to take a chance on winning something that they might not afford. And brother will take care of that. We'll do that quietly. But a tape that I did in Houston got caught in the hands of the Boule, and the Boule then went out and attacked me. A medical doctor in Columbia, South Carolina, attacked me where the ASCAC just had their national convention in March. He attacked me and said that we in the Boule don't like you, Coakley. You are a threat to our existence. And I said 9 is the combination, and I'm turning them locks, brother. You better quit if you're going to stop me. And so ASCACs, not the organization, though some of them have come to support her for things they don't even understand, which is blind loyalty. That can be dangerous. But the president of ASCAC and Zingarata works for IBM. Oh, Blue Eyes. And even though they done laid off thousands of people, they ain't laid her off. And if you sitting up running an African classical studying organization, running up in my white corporation, if you wasn't aiding and abetting what I'm doing, your ass out of work. So she works well and pays well. And I have said to her, you can never put yourself in a position of standing up for something that you don't understand. And if money is the only reason why you're doing it, Ask others. We might be able to help you if money is all you're looking for. But anyway, there's a tape back there called Special Message to the Boule, Threats, Intimidations, and Warnings. Need to check that. That's the video I'm going to auction off. Now, I'm going to jump off of the Boule. Not because I don't have more about the Boule to say, but I want to do the ADL like real quick. Also, I want to mention Julius Chambers and Honorable Robert Carter and Mr. Serena Buford, to go with Brisbane, and Mr. Kenneth Chenault and Mr. Malcolm Corrin and Mr. Leonard DePaul. Y'all know that Corrin? He was your classmate? Oglesby, he done went to school, played golf, and hung out with more Boule than any black man in America that ain't a Boule. That's Brother Oglesby down there. We're going to have a big date in Philadelphia coming up soon in June. We will. All right, I appreciate you, brother. I'll also should be back in town May 8th at the When Worlds Collide over at in downtown Brooklyn. For those of you that have to leave early, there are tapes of mine in that back alcove, sisters back there with little Mayat. Interestingly enough, our baby is named Mayat, but the name came from New York. There was a little old sister, and I don't know if a sister, I know sister isn't here tonight. We met her at the Brooklyn Street Fest. Little short sister has used to wear this little gold silver hat down on her head. She gave sister and I a card of Osiris and Mayat. And during sister's pregnancy, sister said, you need to rub this Mayat on sister's stomach. And we did it all throughout the pregnancy. Everywhere we went, we still got those two little cards in our baby bag. And a sister would remember this sister. I just don't remember the sister's name. You remember the sister's name? You know who I'm talking about? That sister gave us those cards. We kept those cards, waved them on sister's stomach, and when the baby was born, we for so sure thought it was a boy who was going to be Malcolm Marcus, that we didn't have a girl's name. So when the baby was born, it was a girl. We looked around for a name, and that little Mayat card just fell right out the bag. And that the baby was named Mayat. I need to find this sister. I need to let her know. She does not know. I was not able to call her, but I need to let her know her impact on sister and myself. One thing I want to mention as I jump off the Boule is that somebody got to help me down there. One thing I want you to remember, that the first black Rhodes Scholar was Elaine Locke. Elaine Locke was the first black Rhodes Scholar, was one of the early members of the Boule in Washington, D.C. The liberal arts department at Howard is named after him. In fact, you know, Omega Psi Phi's #1 medal was also the Spingarn Award also. Also, the first winner of the Spingarn medal was Ernest Just, the founder of Omega Psi Phi. And Omega should get that Spingarn off their shit too. How many Omegas in here? Bill Cosby and the others. Now, Elaine Locke makes this statement. I just want to say it quick. The dumb, dark masses have shown a more ready and ripe for action than the minds of the leaders and the educated few. Locke is talking about, we have for the president, in spite of Marcus Garvey's heroic efforts, no Zionistic hope or intention. You see, they blamed Marcus Garvey for being a black Zionist. So these Negroes repudiated black Zionism, and when Marcus Garvey went to jail, they came out and said, woo, we defeated him, and we have no desire to be what he wanted. But the dumb, dumb masses, were urgently in need of a new opiate, for which we well understand, and Garveyism has shown how much more ready, ripe for action than the minds of the leaders and the educated few, the masses were. Meaning that after they wipe Marcus Garvey out, they look down and say, the black man was really ready for him. And then he goes on to say, I hope we didn't make a mistake. Well, you did. But also remember, by making Elaine Locke the first black scholar, Rhodes Scholar, and Cecil Rhodes was a colonist, you start the process of the Rhodes Society roundtable linking with the Boule Society subordinate to the round table. Boule is advisory to or subordinate to. Real quick on the spy story in Martin, it says the 8th Green Beret was down in Memphis at the time Martin King was killed. It also says that the Army spied on the black man. There's a picture of the Army behind a car. They're in the back seat of a car with all kind of radio equipment, listening to different things on the radio, and it shows them sitting at the back seat of a car with all this electronic equipment at the bottom of the car, fixed into the car back seat, listening to all sorts of radio and other activity in the neighborhoods. This is the Memphis Commercial Appeal again about that story. I just wanted to mention that. There's loads of things in the story. I have one copy. Do you all have copies of the story? March 21st, 1993. We need to make these available for the people. That's just something we need to do. Now, let me step off of that, because one of the founders of the NAACP was Rabbi Stephen Wise, who also just happened to be one of the founders of the Anti-Defamation League. So now what we're saying is that we can hook the ADL and the NAACP through the uniformity in its founders. But what you must know about the ADL is that it is a fraternal order. It is a subsidiary of the fraternal order of B'nai B'rith. And you must never forget that. That is most important. In the story, in the ADL story, and I want to just at least put one segment of the story on the wall so you can see it. I think one of the more important parts, I'm going to see if I can blow it up. This is the San Francisco Examiner. And I'll move fast because I know the worst thing in life is working for the white man. It's nothing, there is no scummier, lower position with your people than having to work for the white man. And some of you will need to go because he demands and puts guilt on you when you don't have your body in good working order for him tomorrow when he starts to pay you. And you should feel bad. There's nothing filthier in life than doing what a white man says for money. And I wish you all got fired. Dr. John W. Parker, Godfrey Moraine, Dr. Marcus Moore, Dr. Thomas Winter, Mr. Donald L. Miller, Cornelius McDougall, Eugene McCabe, Judge Richard Bryant Lowe III, Mr. George R. Lewis, Mr. Ed Lewis, Mr. Edward Joseph Levy, Dr. Robert Lemieux, Mr. Ulysses S.K., Lowell Douglas Johnston, attorney. Oh, brother, you had to get it out the tape. I couldn't go that slow now. We laid it. I got to keep going. Mr. J. Vincent Johnson, Mr. John E. Jacob, Mr. John E. Hutchison III, Mr. Edward C. Horn, Mr. Benjamin Crooks, Mr. Paul Haywood, that was Hooks Crooks, Mr. Reverend Dr. D.S. Harrington, Conrad K. Harper, Esquire, Dr. Bernard Warren Harrelson, Charles J. Hamilton Jr. Brother just gave me a tape where Charles Hamilton was on Bob Law's show when a brother called in and said, "You're on the Boule. Coakley said so." And then Bob Law act like he been looking for me. I've been looking for Coakley. If you could get him on the air. Sorry, Bob. You haven't been looking for me at all. I've been here several times. Brother know my number. You're not lacking for finding me. You're not looking for me. But when pressed, you act like you're looking for me. Earl Graves, Jack Greenberg, who, like Jack Greenberg, is a white boy attorney from the NAACP Legal Defense Fund, and like Joel Spingard, he was an honorary member of the Boule. Earl Graves, Charles V. Hamilton, Dr. Arwin Grenadi, Dr. Joseph Henry French, Mr. Kenneth A. Forday, Mr. Clarence Finley, Christopher Edley, Edward Dudley Jr., the Honorable Edward Dudley Jr. and the Honorable Edward Dudley and the Edward Dudley Jr. That's a family thing. Dr. Harold Doley, Dr. Walter Delph, Dr. Harry Delaney. We also got Benjamin Parker, Barrington Parker, Roberto Reed, Robert Rohn, Dr. Enrique Riggs, Mr. Harvey C. Russell, Mr. Williams Nichols Riles, Mr. Frank Savage, Mr. Dr. Melvin Shelton, Dr. Theodore Stent, Dr. Donald Stewart, Dr. William Taylor, Mr. Frank L. Thompson, Dr. Wyatt T. Walker. Dr. Wyatt T. Walker, 52 Delaware Road, Yonkers. Dr. Robert Weaver, big time connect. Malcolm from LA. Yeah, Yusef Shaw, the brother from LA. Yeah, didn't he die? The brother from LA. And Yusef Shaw died. There was 3 of them, wasn't it? That's deep. That's deep, brother. That's deep. Listen to me now. What you say? Jeremiah Shabazz is the last one. There were 3 brothers that spoke here that night. 2 of them dead. That's deep. And they spoke on the Spike Lee and X thing. Right, I saw the tape. I watched the tape in Washington. Brother sent me the tape. All over the country. I say I need to talk to Yusef Shaw. He gone. I say I need to talk to Alex Haley. And sometimes they may get to them before we do. Listen. In Spike Lee's book, he asked him who killed Malcolm. He talked about zealots. The word zealots is used. Go back and see who interviewed and called themselves zealot. That's just check. You got to do your research. That's a whole nother subject. You got some Malcolm X analysis shit back there. That's another thing. Now, let's go back to the ADL. The ADL's in a tripartite thing with South Africa, is it real? And now they're setting up a network. They established that the ADL had documents from over 236 police departments. Now, when the ADL went to attack me in Chicago, and I made it clear on the radio this morning that I know the gimmick, they went to check for my criminal record. The deputy superintendent of police called me and told me they were looking for my criminal record. And I told him I didn't have one. I'd never been arrested. And he said, damn, I don't even believe there's a black man who's never been arrested. He said, but I'm going to proudly tell him you don't have a file. He thought I had snuck the shit away because I worked for the mayor. Then they looked to see if I stole money, and I ain't stole no money. And the comptroller called me from the city of Chicago saying, the Jewish people are here trying to get your secret money. He said, you ain't got none. Are you hiding something? I said, I don't have no secret money. I'm the lowest paid, poorest nigga in the mayor's office. Working from 2 a.m., 6 a.m. in the morning till 2 a.m. in the morning, every day. And then the ADL took those tapes from the Nation of Islam and a specific speech, compulsory education is mandatory strangulation, and thrusted it into the public and made the AIDS and Jewish doctor's statement the statement of Steve Coakley. Just 3 days ago in the Washington Post, a story condemning Jeffries, Farrakhan, and Coakley. And it goes into Professor Leonard Jeffries and racial demagogue Steve Coakley, who charged the Jewish doctor's conspiracy with the responsibility for AIDS epidemic among black babies. But the point of it is that myself and Farrakhan were not even on Liberation Radio in Los Angeles that made the story. Only Jeffries had been on. But to make it look good and bad, they put me and the minister around him and muddied it up. But we were never on. But on Monday in Washington, I had the big Boule lecture. On Friday, the minister had a big lecture in Washington. And on Wednesday, we end up in a fake story. Not a story on what we did, but a story pissing on us probably for doing it. Anyway, the ADL, under the guise of so-called fact-finding, early warning system. Go back and look at another tape I did here. You see, I came here and told you the answer. In the other tapes I gave it to Slave, I talk about the early warning system. I read the 25 organizations that are in this early warning system, which was funded by the United Way. I mentioned on the radio today that story on the ADL is bigger than you think. Why were they paying the head of United Way so much? That got exposed recently is because he is closer to CIA than charity work. The head of the United Way is closer to the CIA than the Red Cross. And so the United Way may fund things that the ADL hides itself in. But the ADL was with the NAACP, the Urban League, and Operation Push, and the United Church of Christ, and the American Jewish Congress, and the American Jewish Committee, and the Human Relations Service of Chicago, and the Department of Justice Community Relations Service, among other groups. My only point to that is that I came here to this podium, and I read you of the Early Warning Network a year and a half ago. A year and a half later, they reveal a story about a spying on the community. And I'm saying that we ought to be entitled, get it here first. And if the ADL story ran in the Final Call before it even ran in the New York Times, what does that say for the Final Call? That's right, they're doing their work. The Memphis story run in the Final Call. It don't run in all the cities. That is the bridge to reach people. The article may be small, but it may lead you to another article. It may make you go out and find it. Now the ADL, where's the ADL's headquarters here? Yeah, I heard me mention it on the radio today. It's right under the Trilateral Commission. And when I came here and y'all put me in the hotel down there, we walked over there to their offices and couldn't even get in the lobby. We could not get in the lobby of the ADL headquarters. The Trilateral Commission in there, the Foreign Policy Association in there, and a whole bunch of other hate groups in there. The MTA is in there. What's that? Oh, yeah. Now you got a world trade bombing, building up hysteria on Muslims. And then you got a group of guys who just walk and turn themselves in. Something funky up in here. Something don't jive. And I believe that some Jewish people bombed the place and put some jokes in the position of the evidence. I believe that, and I will never believe anything different. I will never believe somebody gonna bomb up a place and try to get a $400 refund. I will never believe that. I never would believe that the bomb would go off while the mayor was in Japan. Listen to me now. Who did that leave in charge when he wasn't here? The initial response was not put together by Dinkins. It was put together by other people. That's right. And you need to know that. Huh? Oh, who's that? Deputy Mayor, huh? Another dog butt, huh? Huh? Boule? Police said to help spy on political groups. Anti-Defamation League seeks info nationwide. A small group of undercover operatives throughout the nation is being paid by the Anti-Defamation League to spy on pro-Palestinian, black nationalist, and white supremacist groups, according to a San Francisco law enforcement official. The operatives rely on local police and sheriff's deputies to provide access to confidential information in law enforcement files and motor vehicle information. David Dinkins, come before the people. Tell us, have you now or have you in the past cooperated, participated, or assisted a group known by the acronym ADL, Anti-Defamation League, in the information gathering on other black people? Have you ever done such a thing? And wherever he shows up next that you are, you must ask him that. He got a yarmulke? Yeah, he wore the yarmulke. Yeah. Yeah, the dunce cap. Yep, he wore it. Now, remember, this is an honor. I think this is an honor. Damn, I'm up to number 2. That says the, y'all can't see that? This is the ADL's list of black demagogues. Black public figures and community activists who have promoted anti-Semitism. I'm honored to be number 2. I'm seeking number 1. Move over, Farrakhan. Steve Coakley. Gus Savage, he been on this podium. Sonny Carson been here? Okay, we'll talk about that later. Al Sharpton. Leonard Jeffries. Brother G2, Kwame Ture, Decoy, Lenore Fulani and the New Alliance Party. Shit, all you got to do is call Fred Newman ass. You don't need to spy on her. Professor Griffin, Public Enemy. Amir Baraka. Ice Cube, LeGrand Klieg. And what I was so honored was, I was in part 3 on anti-Semitism on black student campuses. I was in part 2 with Professor Griffin, Public Enemy. I have my own spot in part A. Look at this one here. Part 5, a case study in media bias. The New York Black Press. Radio stations. Now I heard that half-an-hour disclaimer on WLI. We ad-lib. We in no way, Mr. White Man, have ever or will we ever promote, assist, or help a nigga who wants to overthrow you. The disclaimer is longer than most guest time on the show. I don't know why. Right, say we didn't turn it off. Hey, check this out here. Here's the ADL jacking up. Hey, you want to know why Mickey Leland went into the mountain? No, let me tell you this. It's just a little sideline. I was talking earlier about Boule breakaway. Now watch this pattern. Martin King goes international, dies. Whitney Young goes international, dies in Africa. Even though he was jive timey and one of the few athletes to get involved in the South African thing, as phony as it was, Arthur Ashe in 79 refuses to play in South Africa, has a heart attack immediately. Keeps going with the anti-apartheid thing, has another heart attack, and is then given the AIDS virus. Or something. Mickey Leland, Boule, Houston, Texas, decides to go to Somalia 3 years before it's a news story. Check. He sees organized starvation, gets his ass in an airplane, falls into a mountain. Boule breakaway. Every time a Boule tries to go beyond the domestic confines of the white man, they're murdered. Just remember, Malcolm, international. Marcus Garvey, international. The emasculation of the people based upon the length of their reach. Black-Jewish relations discussed. Chicago Defender, November 5th, 1988. Interestingly enough, when the Memphis spy story appeared in Chicago, it wasn't but one part they left out. They left out the Joel Spingard part. But Robert Abbott is the founder of the Chicago Defender, and you can find Robert Abbott in the philosophies and opinions of Marcus Garvey, because Robert Abbott went to the Justice Department and demanded that he be locked up and taken off the street for stirring up shit amongst the Negroes. So when the Defender does the story, they leave out leave out Joel Spingard, because his chief understudy was Robert Abbott, and this hooks in Ida B. Wells, this hooks in a whole bunch of shit we don't even want to swallow yet. And I'm saying, I'm in formation. Next time you see me, I'll have this even better, because I'm spending all my money now to buy the stuff to bring it back to you, because I believe it's something there. No applause. Don't waste your time. Black-Jewish relations discussed. Los Angeles. Although they were not on the agenda, Chicagoans Jesse Jackson, Stephen Coakley, and Louis Farrakhan were the main concerns of Jewish leaders at a panel discussion of Black-Jewish relations at the National Executive Committee meeting of the Anti-Defamation League of B'nai B'rith in Los Angeles last weekend. Panelists were Congressman Julian Dixon, Mickey Leland, and Mel Levine, of Democrat of California, with Shirley F. Bromberg, director of the ADL's community service. Check this spot right here. Congressman Leland had not heard of the Coakley incident until some weeks after the Coakley thing. Some weeks after Coakley was fired from his city of Chicago position. He reminded the audience that most people outside of Chicago did not know who Coakley was, and while it may have been important to the Jews, blacks had more urgent problems on their agenda. In other words, he said, nigga, repudiate Coakley. And he said, I don't even know who he is. I got more important things to do. Nigga gets right up and drives into a mountain. And I can show you a meeting at Dillard University in New Orleans where they jacked up another group of guys. And Kenneth B. Clark, I don't even know him, stood up and said, I'm tired of you all yakking on Coakley. He's big time Boule too, Kenneth B. Clark. But he stood up and said, I'm tired of you other Negroes bucking with this thing. And that was a big ADL meeting, and Dillard then got a $3 million grant to set up the Center for Black-Jewish Relations, which is there now. But look up in Wesley's book how much money Dillard got and Howard got. and Tuskegee got, and Talladega got, and Hampton got from the white man to set up the school anyway. Anyway, this is just another one of them stories where they run it. On the backside it says, Congressman Dixon, who earlier expressed admiration for the way the Jews are organized and how they support each other, business activities, was asked if he felt that his attempt at dialogue was one-sided insomuch as there were no opportunities for blacks to express their concerns about the behavior of the Jewish community. You see, this is a meeting where they only get in the room to be jacked up about the brother man. Now, Jesse Jackson, of course, has already apologized, went with Edgar Brofman, the Seagram's liquor man, to Brussels, Switzerland, or Brussels, wherever, and got up in front of the National Conference on Zionism, World Zionist Congress, damn it, and called Zionism a liberation movement, as opposed to a murderous, bloody, terrorist, hate group organization. Anyway, so you're right. ADL denies any role in police spy network. The Anti-Defamation League has protested the LA Times report. By the way, when the San Francisco state's attorney came up with the subpoenas to raid the offices of the ADL in San Francisco and Los Angeles, the Los Angeles Police Department originally agreed to cooperate. But on the day of the raid, Superintendent of Police Bucky Williams refuses to attack the ADL's office and backs off of his legal responsibility to find the LAPD Information Police Department in their files. So he back down in San Francisco, had to go to LA to go into their offices. But check that out, going up in these white boys' offices. Last time I know somebody was in their offices was Hanaf Khalis, who took over the office in D.C. when he took over D.C. to attack the killing of his children at his house on 16th Street in Washington. And that had something to do with Lou Alcindor, Kareem Jabbar, who bought the house for him. And he told me that while he had the ADL trapped down on their knees with their heads between their legs with swords over their heads, the FBI came in and read the files and allowed them to hold them in hostage longer than necessary to allow them to read the files. And what about this fake Jesus sighting in Waco, Texas? Look, let the motherfucker stay there 47 days or some shit. They wouldn't let us stay 47 minutes. Burned a whole motherfucking community of 61 houses because the loudspeaker was up too high. The move didn't even kill nobody. Yahweh didn't kill nobody. Found him not guilty and he's still in jail. Is there justice in America? It will never be in the name of America. Yeah, there will never be justice under the name LA. Anyway, we must do certain things. I just lost a speech in Trenton College in New Jersey because the ADL, the Hillel House, attacked the students, and the students who have yet to make up their mind. See, it's one thing you pay to go to a school, $10,000, $12,000, you end up in debt. But then somebody else starts telling you what to do, the administrators. Don't put no money in the pot. Then other students start telling you what to do, and the students told me that they had agreed with the Jewish students not to bring any controversial speakers. I said, name me a white controversial speaker. He said, there are none. I said, name me black controversial. Coakley, Farrakhan, Jeffries. He started going down the list. I said, well, how could you sign on to that, son? He said, oh, brother, we love you. I said, no, you don't. I said, serve me like the one you say you hate. But what you need to know is that the Hillel houses are the ADL spy operation on the college campuses. And you got to go on the campuses and fuck with that Hillel house. Oh, you can put the pressure on, brother. They got to eat. They walk in and out that door every day. Rabbi Schindefella in the UCLA Hillel house know what an ass kicking is about. Ask him. He ain't took nobody to jail. We called that motherfucker and said, you fuck with them students at UCLA over the protocols, we will kick your ass, and my name is Steve. And he withdrew his complaint. He didn't run to the jail. You see, there's some things jail and law can't do for somebody when you after them. So don't get caught up in it. Don't appeal to the nature. Brother, you get back in yet? Not yet? Shit, you might as well be the Supreme Court of the new government under the new court of the revolutionary people, because they probably will never let you in this one. And we should start the process of creating the new one. And the new one should be right there on the wall waiting with the new health system and the new school system and a real organization for all of our people and not a Boule or a segmented one. These are things that have to be. And we're just in the process. A whole lot going on. White man want to egg up a little war. We're not interested in Rodney King. That motherfucker got a lot of problems. He ain't never helped us do shit. It ain't promised to give up no money. We will go off, but when we say so, not when they egg so. And look, and when we go off, we know just where we going. We ain't going none of them pity-patty spots either. So we're not falling into that. And overnight, I'm going to tell you just something in a little sidelight as I close, is that over the last couple of weeks, we watched at midnight, 1, 2 a.m., the rail yards were bringing in tanks to the major cities. If you go to your rail yards here that are near byways, check to see what's sitting on the track. The tanks are sitting there. They were brought in over the night in most of the major cities, and they brought them in overnight so you didn't see them and get apprehensive. But they're there, and we're not afraid of a tank. The tank is a symbolism of what they could do to overpower themselves. No question, no question. And they just can't hold it back. But Rodney King might not be our shot. I don't care what nobody do. Again, the ones that do the violence have a role like the ones who rearrange the furniture in the front room after they bust down the front door. So we're not into saying who can't do what. We're all doing it together. Brother Monk, where you at with the raffle? How many raffle tickets you sell? Hey, Monk, you got to come quick because I got to do this quick. Come on over to this row right here, right, Monk, on the other side, right here on this row. How many of you? Weiss? What does Weiss do? He's a rabbi. Hey, Brother Monk, where you at? Hey, Monk, where you at? Come on quick, brother. Brother Maddox. What'd you say? Brother Monk. I hear you, Monk, but I can't see you. Taking of control of its political leadership, taking control of its economy for 50 years, and it says by the time we get through starving Africa, it will beg to be recolonized. That's in the latest issue of Foreign Affairs called Retreat from Africa. Deep story. Most newsstands, most bookstores, house organ. Where's the CFR headquarters in Washington? And then announce regional offices in their area and sign up for mutual sharing of information. When the riots in LA, the rebellion in LA came down, William Webster was the chairman of the committee to investigate. It is no coincidence that the head of the FBI, then head of the CIA, became the person to investigate the rebellion in Los Angeles. That's no accident.